Whiskey is for drinking, water is for fighting over. You know that cliche. There's a reason that phrase is a cliche here in the West. You take the lawsuit of Texas recently, they filed against water users south of Elephant Butte. The Lone Star State is accusing New Mexico of under-delivering promised water. And now water issues are always something of an undercurrent at the legislature, but this year they've risen to the surface. Here's NMIF producer Matt Grubbs.
Senator, thanks for taking a few minutes to talk a little bit about water with us. Right before everyone came up here, Texas filed suit against New Mexico for under-delivery of water to them. How's that impacted what you're offering or how you're trying to solve these issues?
Things are changing, and I think this is the first time since I've been in the legislature, this is my 9th year, that we're now dealing with litigation. And I think it does change things because obviously the days of just being able to sit around the table and try and work it out change when you've got a court actively involved. So Senator Michael Sanchez, right out at the start of the session, said water was the sleeper issue, and I think he was spot on in that statement. And as we've gone through the session, I think there is a realization of the magnitude of what we're up against. And so you're seeing a group of senators. It's not partisan. You've got Senator Smith actively involved, and we're working on coming up with ideas to begin to start the discussion. And it's a big discussion that we're going to have many years down the road.
Texas has sued us before for under-delivery, specifically on the Pecos. How does that, when it seems like something that maybe affects agricultural use or rural use, how does that affect the rest of the state?
Well, basically, this is what we did on the Pecos in the adjudication there. We were sued by Texas in the late 80s, and we were let out of that lawsuit for, I think it was $14 million. And basically what we did is the state over the years has invested about $100 million to buy up water rights. And we drill a well and we pump the water and put it in the stream and to meet our compact delivery. That is an option certainly as we move forward, but it's a big debate as to whether we're going to buy our way out of this problem. What everyone needs to understand, and this is the thing that I always tell constituents here in Santa Fe who I represent and folks in Albuquerque, this isn't just an agricultural issue. The reason it impacts us all so dramatically is that these are the senior water rights holders, and they tend to be at the end of the stream system. And under our New Mexico Constitution, we have a priority system whereby you establish a date when you began using the water, and when there's not enough water, what happens is you have a priority call. And the junior users are asked to turn off their water so the seniors can get their prioritized rights. In New Mexico, all our municipalities are generally holders of junior water rights. So everyone needs to understand that if we're asked to turn off our water, what the implication of that is.
The way it works right now, when we have less delivery than is anticipated, do senior users, do they get their full allotment or do they get some percentage of that based on how dry it is?
And it's a great question. And the first challenge, let me just say, before we even get there, you've got to determine how much water everyone has, and that's adjudication. And so we have not fully adjudicated the state. In fact, in the Middle Rio Grande, we haven't even started the adjudication. So you immediately run into an issue there. But generally what happens, it's prioritized. And so, yes, if you've got a senior right, you're entitled to your water. And I think that the magnitude of that is such that it means you're potentially shutting folks off. Now, we've tried to avoid taking this kind of, some call it harsh direction, although it is the legal direction, by putting in place, and the state engineer has put in place active water resource management, which is an attempt to, outside of the court process, get everyone around the table and to come up with an allocation. And so that's been challenged. The Supreme Court upheld it. Senator Cervantes has a bill here that would tweak that a little bit because there's a real concern amongst some of the senior water rights holders that any process that doesn't fully reflect the rights of the seniors shouldn't be held constitutional, because that's not what our system says. So we've got legal issues, we've got challenges up and down. The biggest thing though, and this is the thing that's so scary really, is the lack of water. Even with the legal system, even with what we did on the Pecos, the senior water rights aren't getting what they're entitled to. It's estimated this year that for the first time in the history of the whole water project in Elephant Butte, there's going to be zero delivery to the farmers down south. And what that means is that they'll be pumping. And of course, everything's connected. And so the fascinating thing is that Texas is entitled to water under the Rio Grande Compact. The measurement point is the dam, Elephant Butte Dam. Well, the water's going over the top of the dam, and then there's massive pumping in New Mexico to make up for not getting water. And that water that's supposed to go to Texas, much of it's going right back into the aquifer. That makes Texas unhappy. And here we are. Yeah, here we go.
You're carrying a couple of bills right now that would attach groundwater rights specifically to development. Talk a little bit about those.
Kind of double dipping domestic well issues that we have spent lots of time in this building on. It seems that this is the year to kind of really move forward on this. If someone has sold their water rights, for example, a farmer sells all the water rights off, that farmer should not be allowed to then put in a subdivision using domestic wells. Currently, our statute allows for domestic wells separate from the whole priority system that exists, and that was challenged. It's currently in the Supreme Court. If you have a fully adjudicated area, why should you be able to put a new domestic well in if the water's all accounted for, because that domestic well is using water? So this bill doesn't completely eliminate the use of domestic wells, but what it does is say if you've stripped the water rights, you have to have new water rights if you're going to use domestic wells. And then there's a second bill that deals with subdivisions that says if you have a subdivision of 10 or more units and one of those units is less than 2 acres, then you've got to prove that you have water rights before you proceed.
Well, being sued by Texas in federal court probably gets a lot of attention, but outside of that, is it hard to get lawmakers to kind of focus in on this when there is other legislation that seems maybe like it's a little bit more pressing?
It is, and I think when the chairman of Senate Finance says this is the single most important issue we're dealing with in this session, everyone better pause and take note, because I think that's a realization. And Senator Smith yesterday said, we can give away the whole tax system trying to lure companies here and lure jobs here. If there's no water, they're not going to come. So you're right, it's not the super sexy immediate issue, although I think it's going to start getting real sexy real soon when you have farmers with 4,000 acres of pecan trees being told you can't put water on those trees. And the economic impact to the state of that action is huge. So I think it's something that we're discussing. It's the start of a discussion. By no means do we have the silver bullet and we can just pass some bills and solve this. But I am very encouraged, first time since I've been here, that we're actually having this discussion at this level. So I'm hopeful that again, we can move forward and be proactive at the legislative level.
Senator Cervantes, thanks for taking a few moments with us. Your neck of the woods is where seemingly all the action is, both legally and in terms of the drought showing itself.
Well, southern New Mexico's dry. We're in the middle of the longest recorded drought and the highest temperatures recorded in state history.
And with more use than we've ever had before, too.
Well, that's right, particularly with the groundwater pumping. The fact of the matter is that New Mexico is failing to deliver the water that it's required to deliver to the Elephant Butte Reservoir. And so farmers who are trying to survive south of the reservoir are groundwater pumping.
When water users below Elephant Butte are pumping groundwater because there's no water in the river that they can use, is that essentially just creating more seep? Is all that water that's flowing through the river reabsorbing into the ground at a more rapid rate?
Well, that's the argument that's made, and there's probably some science to support that. The theory is that the river itself recharges the aquifer, that water seeps through the riverbed into the soils and then actually refills the aquifer, and there are what are called carriage losses or conveyance losses in the river itself. That's part of the Texas lawsuit, is that groundwater pumping is impairing the water that's flowing in the river itself.
So how do we fight against that?
Well, the worst approach that we can follow so far is relying on rain and hoping, and that's a poor policy, is to hope for things that are beyond our control. So what we need to be doing is doing some planning and putting the resources and investment into solving these problems long term. The first start is to adjudication. A lot of us have been working for some time to try and get our hands around who owns what right to water.
So we estimate how much water is in the river and then we adjudicate based on that, but the problem is that no one's ever added it all up.
That's part of it. I mean, you use the word adjudicate. The reality is we don't adjudicate, although the law requires us to do that. And I think the reason for that is nobody really wants to know how much water is appropriated, how much water is being used. And so this is a situation where for a long time we've really kind of buried our head in the sand to some degree and not really confronted the problem. We're at that point.
So it's becoming increasingly clear what the problem is. Legislatively, how do you start to address that?
Well, I've got a Senate bill in to appropriate $120 million to try and begin to solve the problems below the reservoir. Texas has sued us in the Supreme Court, and their lawsuit seeks to stop all groundwater pumping. Elephant Butte now, below the reservoir, for the first time in the entire history of the project, and we're talking about from 1905, for the very first time in the project, Elephant Butte is saying there will be no delivery, or potentially no delivery at all to farmers below the river. So if Texas is stopping the groundwater pumping and there's no water in the river, one potential consequence is essentially the end of agriculture, the green belt, and all of the environmental issues that go with that, everything south of Elephant Butte Reservoir. So I'm trying to appropriate some money to begin to tackle the needs in that area.
Would that be doing something like paying to divert water back to the Rio Grande, or would it be something like buying up water rights?
All of those are options. The legislation is broad and appropriates the money to the Interstate Stream Commission to do all of those things. It sounds like a lot of money, but I always like to put it in some context. We just spent twice that amount of money to build the spaceport, and certainly the role of agriculture in southern New Mexico is as important to job creation and economics.
We're talking about pecan fields, we're talking about hatch chili.
Right.
You name it.
Yeah, the Doña Ana County is the 5th largest county in the country for nut and fruit production, and we're the largest county in the state for agricultural production. And so it's a fundamental part of the economy there, and you're right. It's certainly worth that kind of investment to everyone concerned, whether it's the bankers, whether it's people that are in business or otherwise relying on those jobs.
It's New Mexico, everybody knows water's important, but is it hard to get lawmakers as a body to focus on that when it's the middle of winter, when there's other seemingly more pressing legislation, things like spaceport liability fixes or gun rights legislation, things like that?
Well, we have a tendency, because we're here for such a short period of time, given our citizen legislature, that oftentimes the hot button and the wedge issues that are very simplistic get the attention. Driver's licenses is a good example. You gave others. Those are easy to understand, and people have a very emotional and visceral reaction to all those things. Water is very complicated. It requires a lot of deep thinking. It requires a lot of consensus building, and oftentimes the legislative process doesn't lend itself to that unless we show that leadership from the legislature.
So is there a possibility that maybe you get some of what you want this legislative session, but it really turns into something like what we saw with the spaceport, which is getting all the parties together in the interim and really trying to hammer out something where you can just sort of drop it and say, hey, we're good to go on this?
We do need to do that, and there's always that. There are always groups meeting, there are always task forces and blue ribbon commissions, and there are many people that are working hard on the water issue. And that's going to be a permanent condition. We are a desert state. We rely on water, whether it's Albuquerque, Santa Fe, and the southern part of the state. So this is going to have to be a continuing and permanent dialogue.
Thanks.
Sure, you bet.